If this finds you, it's probably because you've been feeling stuck, right? Caught in this loop you can't quite put your finger on, holding on to something that feels so essential, but at the same time, it's just exhausting. So today, we're going to walk through some really powerful ideas that might just bring you some clarity. And it all starts with one single core truth.
And this is it. This is the truth we're really going to dig into, especially when we talk about loving someone's potential. This quote just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? The story that we build up in our own heads can be a way more powerful prison than any real tangible thing. And that fantasy, well, that's often what we're actually in a relationship with.
So let's break down what that fantasy really is. It's what you might call the almost relationship. And I bet you know exactly what this feels like. You were almost happy. The connection was almost consistent. They were almost healed, almost the person you just knew they could be. But almost? Well, it's a mirage, isn't it? It just keeps you chasing something that never ever actually shows up. And that leads to this really gentle but kind of heartbreaking realization. Your fight hasn't really been for them, for the person who actually consistently showed up day after day. No, the fight has been for the potential you saw, for that version of them that existed so clearly in your imagination. It's this belief that if you just love a little harder or maybe stay a little longer, that character from your story will finally step into the real world. This metaphor of a movie screen, I mean, it is such a perfect way to understand what it means to love someone's potential. It's an illusion. You can see this beautiful picture, this incredible story playing out, but you can't touch it, you can't hold it, you can't build a real life on a movie screen. And that's exactly why it's all so confusing. Your heart is grieving something that never truly existed outside of your own mind. So, if one side of the coin is the fantasy, what's on the other side? Well, this next part is tough, but it's so necessary. It's about facing reality. It's about looking at the dream versus the person who consistently actually showed up. And we often blur these lines, don't we? Precisely because we're just so addicted to that beautiful dream. And this really lays out that divide, doesn't it? You were looking for your peace, but they became your trigger. You were hoping for a partner, but what you got was doubt. You needed a safe space to land, and instead, they brought chaos into your life. Look, this isn't about blame, not at all. It's just about clearly, honestly acknowledging the dynamic that was actually there, not the one you were hoping for. So you see, it's that gap, the space between the person who is, right now, and the person you want them to be. That is the prison. And trying to bridge that gap every single day, trying to drag your fantasy into reality while ignoring what's right in front of you, well, that is exactly why you're so tired. It's not love that's exhausting. It's trying to keep a story alive that's so tiring. So, what now? Okay, so we've talked about the prison. Now, how do we find the key? And the key, according to these ideas, is detachment. But let's be clear, this isn't some passive act of just giving up. No, this is framed as an active, disciplined choice. This is about you taking your power back. And listen, this is so important. It is so tempting to just try and numb the pain with distractions, right? But that's just a band-aid on a really deep wound. True detachment isn't about escaping the feeling. It's a disciplined practice of facing it head on. And here's a little roadmap for that freedom. First up, you have to cut off all access. You need to create silence to even begin to heal. Then, and this is the hard part, you have to face the withdrawals. It's going to feel awful, but it's a sign that your spirit is cleansing itself. The key then is to actively fill that empty space with new, healthy rhythms. And finally, you have to anchor yourself. Write down your reasons for leaving. Because, let's be real, your heart is going to try to trick you, to pull you right back to that fantasy. And that brings us here, to the final part of the journey. And I want you to know this isn't really about an ending, it's about liberation. It's that moment you finally stop being loyal to a dream you invented and you start being loyal to yourself. It's about choosing you again. And I really want you to let this sink in. You are not losing. You are not failing. The pain you went through, maybe that was preparation. Maybe that loss was actually a form of liberation. It reframes the whole thing not as a failure, but as the necessary, beautiful start of something new. This right here is such a powerful thing to remember.
We have this idea that someone else completes us, which kind of implies we were broken to begin with. But that's just not true. Just take a moment with this. You were whole before they ever came along.
And you are whole after them. Your worth was never in their hands. It wasn't their gift to give you, and it is absolutely not theirs to take away. You are, and you have always been, completely whole, all on your own. So, I want to leave you with this. Let's flip the usual question on its head. We always focus on what we're losing if we walk away, the good memories, the dream. But the real question, the one that can actually set you free, is this. What are you losing if you stay? Your peace? Your joy? The version of yourself you were always meant to become? The cost of holding on, it just might be far, far greater than the cost of letting go.